What's going on YouTube? It's Giga here bringing you some more Series 9 Wi-Fi battles with live commentary. I hope people enjoyed seeing a quick look at Pokemon Unite. I know it wasn't the best, but hoping that once the game comes out, we can play some more cool stuff with it once I really start to understand more of the mechanics. So today we are back to playing some Pokemon, and we're trying out a really cool team. This was built by Emma Manzo, and it made it all the way to the top 4 in the most recent Hatterene tournament. And I think it just uses some really cool Pokemon that I feel like I haven't really used in a while. I feel like I just haven't used Grimmsnarl in ages. So it's a very standard Grimmsnarl set with Thunderwave. We also do have an Assault Vest Metagross, which I don't actually think I've ever used. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how that works. We do have a Sylveon. I think Sylveon is interesting in and of the fact that it does not have Quick Attack for triggering policy on the Moltres. However, I think having Mystical Fire and Yawn offers really good support. And we also do see other support with that Spectrier having access to both having Will-O-Wisp, Snarl, and Taunt. So I feel like the main sort of attackers on this team are going to be that Metagross, that Tapu Fini, and that Moltres. And we do have a lot of support for that, where we have Grimmsnarl being able to set up screens, Thunderwave, and Spirit Break. We have Sylveon with Mystical Fire, and we do have Spectrier offering Will-O-Wisp, Snarl, and Taunt. So it's just going to be a lot about lowering people's stats while we set up for our big hitters. But yeah, the code is included below. I'm really excited to try it out, and yeah, let's just hop right into the first battle. Alright, so first battle is Pheromosa with Incineroar. We do have a Milotic, Rillaboom, Dusclops, and Glastrier. So I feel like my opponent is going to be very reliant on Glastrier for damage and doesn't really have... I mean, they do have a good answer to Metagross with Incineroar. But I do really like Grimmsnarl. I like Grimmsnarl. I definitely want Metagross. Just the question for me right now is where? I feel like leading it... I feel like what? I could lead Moltres as well. I do actually really like Moltres, especially given... Pheromosa actually can be really scary. So let's do that. I think Metagross and probably Sylveon? Do I want Sylveon in the back? Let's go with... yeah, let's go with Sylveon in the back. I think it's a potentially risky choice, and I think it'll really depend on what the Dusclops has. I mean, not the Dusclops, the Glastrier, because I think if they don't have Heavy Slam, we should be in an okay spot, but a lot of Glastriers do carry that. So we're going to see Incineroar Dusclops as a lead, which I think makes a lot of sense. My opponent really is just trying to prevent any sort of basically trying to guarantee that they get up get up Trick Room, because that is going to be kind of their best chance of winning this. So we, I think, go for a Reflect, as well as we could go for a Fiery Wrath. We also could just Nasty Plot. And my thought process with just going for a Nasty Plot is I'm going to go with a Nasty Plot, because what happens is they either will switch out immediately into into Glastrier, or we are going to be able to get the Nasty Plot. So we do see the Fake Out come out. Very expected, as yeah, we are going to see Dusclops pretty easily set up this Trick Room. And now what we want to do is I expect Incineroar to switch out into Horse, so we go for that, and we go for a Fiery Wrath into the two of them. And what I'm thinking is we can try and slow down their max as much as... oh. Okay, so my opponent is definitely maxing Dusclops or Incineroar. I would have preferred to see Dusclops. And I think this is fine, because we're going to be able to hopefully get up the Thunderwave into it. We do see... Oh, just kidding. Just kidding. There is Prankster. And it looks like weakness policy Incineroar. Which is really cool to see. I think that is not something I really expected. And we didn't bring Tapu Fini. Did we bring Tapu Fini? I think if we bring Tapu Fini, we're in a really good spot. But we did bring Fini, right? Good damage onto Dusclops. Oh no, we brought Sylveon. How do I do this? How do we... I think we just try to Thunder Wave onto Dusclops and go for a Fiery Wrath and just start trying to get some chip damage going. Because what's gonna have to happen now is we're gonna have to stall out Trick Room and then have Metagross clean up from there. Because I think at this point there's no real way that Metagross can deal with a max Incineroar in the sun, as we're most likely going to have a double knockout. Yep, we do see a double knockout. I think that's... yeah, we are going to be unfortunately forced to bring out Metagross. I think... Oh, God, I wish we had brought Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini would have been a much better position to be in overall, but it's fine. We have to go for a Rock Slide into Incineroar and go for... Oh, we can't yawn the Dusclops. Thank God. Go for a Hyper Voice into the two of them. And I think seeing... Yeah, I have to hope that with the Reflect up and the fact that we are going to double our HP, we can live a hit from this Incineroar. Because I think if that's the case, we should be able to finish with the max Rockfall. I mean, it does depend. Also, I totally realized... Oh, just kidding. Dusclops gets Helping Hand. Max Lightning. Interesting choice to max Lightning into the Sylveon. Because that does let us live. So I'm trying to figure out... One, what moves does this Incineroar have? And two, what is the goal of going for that? We do get the Rockfall off. It's going to do nowhere near enough. But I think it's in the range where a Hyper Voice will knock it out after Sandstorm. So do I want to risk... I don't really want to risk losing Sylveon. I feel like I'm so far behind already. Oh god, I forget who went first. Oh, because, I mean, Dusclops just goes for, what's it called? It goes for a ghost thingy, Nightshade. So I want to actually protect the Sylveon and just try and set up defensively, as we do get a Lucky Paralysis as... Wait, that was that was before Protect. What was it going for? God. Okay, so that did a lot, but we're gonna have Incineroar go down. Metagross is gonna be able to get a defense boost onto itself and the Sylveon. It is a little tricky though, because there is the Sandstorm, and Sylveon doesn't have any sort of recovery, but I'm hoping that we can outspeed whatever is in the back, because my opponent's team is fairly slow. We do still have Reflect and one turn of max left. The big fear, though, is going to be my Lodic. My Lodic, I actually don't know what our answer to that is. We're going to see Rillaboom, which is scary, and we're going to see Horse. So Horse I can deal with. We are going to be able to get more recovery as a result of the grassy terrain. I I guess we Steel Spike into Horse and go for... I expect a fake out from Rillaboom. Or, I mean, they could Grassy Glide. We are going to see, yep, the Grassy Glide straight into the Sylveon. And so what I'm hoping is if we pick up the knockout onto Glastrier with this Steel Spike, we can just Ice Punch into the Rillaboom and win 1v1. We do knock out the Glastrier, which is great. So now we are getting recovery, and we do have the defense boost. So the question being, how much is Rillaboom going to do into us? We also do still have, what's it called? The Reflect. So I'm hoping a combination of +2 defense plus the Reflect will let us finish this off. But let's just quickly see. No, I don't care about Rillaboom. There are still 2 turns of Reflect. So we can go for an Ice Punch into 80 versus 75. No, we should go for the Ice Punch for the chance to freeze. But I can't. Oh. We do see, okay, so we see Swords Dance on Rillaboom. And so that makes things a little bit tricky as well. Because now they are going to cancel out our defense boosts. We are going to do half into them as a result of the Ice Punch. So I think... So the question then is going to be, is Grassy Glide going to be able to do enough with Reflect? And that, yeah. So this is I think really close. We do see superpowers. This should finish me off. No. And yeah, so I think as a result of the superpower, yeah, I'm not doing enough. We are going to be able to take this one home. And we do get a crit for style points. Definitely close. I think Metagross really was able to kind of finish, like really save us in that end game where Moltres wasn't really doing anything, and that Incineroar just picked up so much damage. And also Sylveon, I think, played a big role in the fact that for one turn we had the focus onto knocking out that Sylveon with Grassy Glide as opposed to having a double up into Metagross, which really gave us, I think, a lot of HP to hold off in the end game. But really good job with the team so far. Excited for the next game, and yeah, let's just move on to game number 2. All right, game number 2, and this is interesting. It is Rhyperior with Raichu, Charizard, Articuno, Venusaur, and Torkoal. So a really classic Sun team with some interesting stuff like Articuno. Rhyperior does have Solid Rock. I think it makes a lot of sense. So what... I feel like we have to lead Grimmsnarl, just given the fact that they have Charizard. Grimmsnarl... Feeny? Grimmsnarl, I think for sure. Could do Grimmsnarl Moltres. Grimmsnarl Moltres is tempting. I want Feeny, and then probably Spectrayer, right? The team is very special, so I think Spectrayer makes the most sense. I think it's very hard to justify Metagross just due to the fact that they have Torkoal and Charizard, so it's just like it's gonna be really difficult for Metagross to get any damage off, but at the same time, like a max Rockfall would be very, very nice. So we're gonna see Charizard and Venusaur. So this is interesting, because what happens is we can definitely go for a Light Screen. And now the question being, what is the item? No, because Moltres has Weakness Policy. This is a big gamble. Okay, so This is bad because we see Torkoal come in, which means that their max option is going to be this Charizard. And I would have really liked... We're faster? Okay, this is interesting then. Us being faster, or they're not maxing Charizard. They could just not be maxing Charizard, which I think would put us in a pretty good spot. Because we should be getting enough damage onto Torkoal. Yeah, okay, so they're not maxing Charizard. We're going to be able to outspeed it the subsequent turn as it goes for critical hit on Grimmsnarl. Okay, no crit on a Grimmsnarl, but we are just going to chunk pretty significantly into Torkoal with that max Airstream and get us a speed boost to guarantee we outspeed Charizard. And we are going to see an eject button. So, I mean, it probably has to be Venusaur at this point. Yep, we're going to see Venusaur come back in with the idea that Venusaur is going to outspeed our, what's it called? Our Moltres. But we can go for, I think, a Thunder Wave here and a max Airstream into the Venusaur. So now this really depends on if we hit the Thunder Wave. Because I think if we get it, we'll be in a really good position. Because what do we have in the back? We have Spectrier, and I think Spectrier has really big Shadow Balls to do a lot of damage. It also does have Snarl. So we are going to see Charizard withdraw into Rhyperior. So Rhyperior means Tapu Fini's in a really good spot. Once we get rid of the Sun, we are going to see this Venusaur max, and luckily Venusaur doesn't have good damage into what is this thing called? Moltres. So I think hitting this Thunder Wave is very, very, very crucial. Or you're gonna do that. That works too. So they are gonna luckily do that and stall, as we have one turn of max left and they have two. I still want to cripple Venusaur and go for a max Airstream into it, with the idea that I think at this point we can start leveraging Spectrier really heavily and take advantage of its big damage output into stuff like Venusaur, and they're just going to withdraw. So my opponent completely sacrificing their max. I'm hoping it's Torkoal, as yep, it is going to be Torkoal, which I think is really, really great, because at this point we are eliminating the ability for them to set up weather. And so once that is gone, Tapu Fini is in a very, very good spot, because Tapu Fini can have super effective into Charizard and into this Rhyperior, and then the only big threat left to it is going to be is going to be Venusaur. But we just got our weakness policy triggered on Moltres, so I think at this point we can just go for really big fiery wraths, and we do get a Berserk boost. So we're at +3, outspeeding everything on my opponent's side of the field with a Spectrier that can also provide a ton of support with Focus Sash and things like Snarl, Will-O-Wisp, and Shadow Ball. And yeah, so opponent is going to bring out their Venusaur, and the question then is Venusaur... Moltres is at +2, so that means we are going to outspeed Venusaur, so we can go for a Shadow Ball here and go for a Fiery Wrath. And I think... Whoa, what? How is Venusaur faster? Okay, so Venusaur is faster, but they went for Leaf Storm into... into the Moltres. So that's actually really good. Unfortunately, we do not pick up either KO, but we are going to have Spectrier pick up one of the knockouts, which means that we are in an okay position. We are going to see Rhyperior go for a Rock Slide. It is unfortunately going to double connect, which means we are down to just Tapu Fini. But if we can stall out the sun, I think Tapu Fini should be able to close things out with Muddy Water. So I'm hoping that this is the last turn of the sun. We did see the red card from what's it called? From Torkoal. So we know that it doesn't have the Heat Rock to extend that. So how many turns? This is the last turn of sun. So we very easily go for a Protect here to scout out if Charizard has... I mean, what? Charizard would need Solar Beam, and we are in the very fortunate position where Solar Beam is going to be one full turn, so they can't even like have me protect this turn while they charge up and then hit next turn. And so this will be good scouting, and then this actually just comes down to hitting with Muddy Water. And so yeah, we do see Charizard reveal the Solar Beam, but with the sun going away, that means they do have to charge for another turn if they want to use it, and I'm guessing that is going to be their best option to deal damage into me. So we can, yeah, I think at this point it really just depends on hitting Muddy Water, which, I mean, what is 85 times 85% chance to win? Pretty good odds. We are going to see the Solar Beam, so Charizard is going to charge up, and we do double hit, and even if we don't take out Charizard, we can, which we don't, we can go for a Protect the next turn where Solar Beam is going to be fired off, and then yeah, we can keep basically rinsing and repeating. So we just protect this turn as they are going to fire off their Solar Beam, and then once we can just keep repeating that. So as long as we don't miss 14 Muddy Waters, 15 Muddy Waters, we should have this game in the bag, right? Yeah, very cool. So I was really shocked that Venusaur still outsped at plus, when Moltres was at +2, but what am I saying? But this Moltres isn't necessarily the fastest. It is modest with a lot of investment in HP and attack. So, it does kind of make sense, but really glad that we're able to do so well with this team so far. So, yeah, let's play one more, and I'll see all of you in the next one. All right, game number 3. It is Grimmsnarl, Porygon 2, Celesteela with a Alolan Marowak, another what is it called? Why am I Milotic and Rillaboom. I like Grimm. I like Fini. The big question though is, how do we deal with Celesteela? So Grimmsnarl, I like Grimmsnarl as a lead. Grim Moltres? Moltres is actually really good into their team. So I like Grim Moltres with Metagross Fini, right? Because what? Their Grimmsnarl does not want to go for a Spirit Break into me. Porygon 2 similarly doesn't have big damage output. We do have Thunder Wave. Celesteela will... Marowak's not going to like us. Their Milotic's not going to like us. Rillaboom's not going to like it. So Moltres is a really good option, but I think it will really depend on positioning. And one of the things that's going to make it really hard is we unfortunately cannot deny Trick Room as a result of them having Grimmsnarl to set up screens, and also just the fact that our damage output is not going to be enough into Porygon. So theoretically what I could do is... Okay, interesting. So we're going to see Celesteela Grimm. And so what? I want to Thunder Wave into their Celesteela in Nasty Plot. I feel like I just have to play aggressively, because this is my only chance to deal with Celesteela. The big fear, I say as I click my move and have more time, is, okay, so we are going to see Max Celesteela. which everything to me is suggesting that this is going to be a max rockfall into what's it called, into Moltres. And if that is the case, we probably, and by probably 100%, will not be able to recover from it. We are going to get the Thunder Wave, so I think at this point we kind of have to rely on getting a paralysis, because yeah, there's no way I can see. Moltres might be able to live. This Moltres is fairly okay, so they go for Grimmsnarl, which, while unfortunate, is fine because of the fact that we do have Metagross in the back, so we can. What is the Beast Boost getting? The Beast Boost is going to boost special attack. We can bring out. I guess we bring out Metagross, because now we're in a really good spot because of the fact that they are paralyzed, and they risk getting paralyzed on each turn of their max. We can go for an Iron Head, I think, fairly safely, and a really big max darkness into this Celesteela. So my thought is we can start lowering the special defense to make up for the fact that they have a light screen up, and I think that doing that will really, really help my damage output going forward. And I'm hoping that as a result of maxing and the fact that Moltres is so bulky, even though they have a +1 special attack Celesteela, we can tank a hit. So the question, I guess the big question is there a payoff of using what is it called? Using Thunderwave. We are going to get the special defense drop, and it looks like their Grimmsnarl is going for a Spirit Break, which means that they are going to trigger the policy on Moltres, and the question now is, what is Celesteela going to do? Because if Celesteela puts me in Berserk range, I actually feel really good about picking up the knockout the subsequent turn, as they do get the paralysis, which I think is going to be huge. Because now we are going to be at we are at +3, right? We're at +3 while they are at -1 defense. So we can go for another Iron Head into the Grimmsnarl and go for another Max Darkness in the Celesteela. And now they're in an awkward spot because of the fact that it looks like they are going for a Spirit Break into the Moltres, but we are going to go first with Metagross and pick up a knockout with this Iron Head. So the question now is, where is Celesteela going to target with its final turn of max? And that's going to play a big role, and really unfortunate for my opponent. They are going to get double paralyzed, and I think that kind of justifies not having a light screen in this situation. But I mean, the luck here is definitely hurting. I think at this point I don't really fear the Celesteela. I think we still have to respect it. I'm gonna go for a Rock Slide for a flinch and go for a Max Darkness. Do I go into Porygon? I kind of want to. I'm going to go into Porygon just with the idea that I want to try to stop Trick Room, as we are going to get off a +3 stab. Even though there is the light screen, it is going to do over half, and now we're going to see, what is it called? We're going to just see how much damage we can do with this Rock Slide, hopefully pick up a flinch onto the Porygon. I think if we flinch the Porygon, that should be game over, as they are going to bring up Flamethrower, and it's going to go into Metagross, who doesn't take that as well as I would have liked. And we do pick up the flinch onto Porygon, and I think that should pretty much I don't want to say seal it, but it puts us in an incredibly commanding position because now we just are able to go for huge double chances of flinch with a +3 Moltres. That's going to probably at least pick up a knockout onto Celesteela, if not both. Yeah, so we do get the double knockout. And now at this point, my opponent has nothing that's going to be faster than Moltres. Milotic could be. So their out is actually a Milotic in the back, as we do see Marowak, who is unfortunately not going to like... Who is definitely not going to like getting hit with a Stomping Tantrum and a Fiery Wrath, even though they most likely do not have a Focus Sash. So I think an unfortunate way to end this for sure, because of the fact that my opponent just got hit with so much luck in terms of the double paralysis and the flinch. Because I mean, what if they had set up the flinch? I think even if they had set up the flinch, I mean, not set up the flinch, set up the Trick Room, it would have been fine, just because of the fact that we still had Tapu Fini in the back and Marowak only has single target attacks. So whatever it picked, we would be able to hit back. But the flinches for sure really, really hurt. But I mean, I'm really glad with how this team has performed. I think there obviously is a reason for it to have made it so far in the tournament that had just incredible players overall. So the plan is probably to finish off the month with this team, and then I have been doing a lot of team building lately, and I'm hoping to get a bunch of rentals ready for the start of the next season for people that want to try out some teams. But yeah, until next time, I hope all of you are wonderful, and I'll see you then.